Yo, what's going on, guys? Reversal here, and today I'm going to be doing an updated Mathmech Dino deck profile. This time, a non-budget version of the current iteration of how we're playing the deck. Before we get started, I just wanted to say I appreciate all the comments and support in the last few videos. Been getting a lot of encouraging messages, so thanks for that. I made an extensive combo video for this deck for my last video, so definitely recommend checking that out afterwards. I'll link it in the comments. So yeah, if you appreciate this content, you like it, feel free to drop a subscription. It's free, helps out. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. For the Dino portion of the monsters, we got the 1 Misc, 3 Ovi, 2 Archosaur, 3 Baby, 1 Petite, 1 Rex, 1 Pink, and then 2 UCT. This is a standard lineup, it's pretty much in every list, so not much to talk about here. It's just the optimized ratios. It's a 40 card deck, by the way. For the Mathmech engine, we got our 3 circulars, Sigma, Diameter, Superfactorial. These cards are crazy in this deck. Like I said before, like Superfactorial is just an insane card on its own, and Circular can get you to that by itself. If you open it, you could get it through your combo. Sigma can be an extender sometimes too. Diameter, if you open it in certain hands, can also be used to get things going. So these cards are like the quote-unquote bricks, but they all have their uses when you draw them, except for the trap, really. So yeah, this stuff's crazy for going versed in the deck. I think they're really nice. They help you play through Lancia a little better, and through hand traps, all that good stuff. So I think they're definitely worth playing for sure if you want to go first with the deck. For our spells, we got a 3 Fossil Dig, 3 Lost World, 2 Double Evolution Pill, the 1 Call By, and a 3 Pot of Prosperity. It's all the standard Dino stuff. The 1 Call By, just Ash Blossom, stuff like that. Shifter, Lancia post side, all that good stuff you need that for. And then Prosperity. This card is obviously one of the best cards you can play in Dinos in general. Usually you can go for 6 in like more pure versions. In this version, you usually just go for 3, like most of the time. There's certain hands where like you open Mathmech stuff and like you don't need to use a few of the Cyverse cards in the extra deck, so you can probably push to 6 if you like desperately need to, but for the most part you're just going for 3 and it's fine. But yeah, like I said in the budget video, like this is the card that gets replaced obviously, and there's a few budget options you could use, like Small World or Sign Up Mining, which in the pure version I don't think Small World is good, but in this version it's like okay, since it can search Circular and sometimes can search your Dino cards. So for our non-engine slots, we have 8, which isn't a ton, but since this list is kind of more geared for going first, it's like fine. Sometimes like going second, you can just win without like a lot of non-engine, just because dropping a UCT can just win you the game sometimes. And a lot of people are really bad at playing versus Dinos, I've noticed. So sometimes, like, even though you shouldn't be winning a game, your opponent just messes up and then you get to summon a UCT and somehow end up winning. So that's fine. But for the non-engine slots, I wanted to pick stuff that was useful both going first and second. So, and then with our side pattern, we have like the Mathmech stuff that you would take out typically going second, since it's really only good for spamming bodies to link climb. I have a bunch of like board breakers to search for Prosperity, since when you go second, you can go for 6 every time. So for the 8, I went with 2 Fenrir, 3 Ash, and 3 Imperm. These cards are all like not like that great, except for like Ash versus Brand Fusion. But I feel like just having cards that are good going first and second and can kind of make your opponent end on just a little less, or if they pass and you just have like Fenrir or Imperm just that you held or drew for 6 card, can kind of make playing into a board a little easier. So just for game ones, and then post side you bring in a bunch of board breakers and hand traps, whatever you need for certain matchups. So I think your game one compared to like a pure version is a little worse going second, but you can still win for sure. But post side is where the deck can really shine in that department. So I just wanted 8 cards that were generic that I could always keep in going first or second, pretty much, just so you have like good side patterns into everything. I might bump Fenrir up to 3. I have one coming in the mail in a couple days, so I'm gonna try that out probably for one of the imperms, or I might just play 41, since the math behind adding an extra card isn't really like too bad. It gives you a few percentage better chance to see just one of these cards, and then it just decreases your chance to see like circular by like under 1%, and like, so it doesn't really affect your consistency too much. So yeah, this is a deck that you can play like 41, 42 cards just to make your going second better, or if you wanted to add like 2 Sinai Mining to make your going first a little better, see more your 3 card combos, that's also an option. But I found doing that sometimes it's good, like you see your 3 card a lot more consistently, but going second you don't really want to see those cards. It can be cloggy, so I decided not to do that. But like I said, 41 might throw in 3rd Fenrir or take out an Imperm, but I like where the main's at right now. So for the extra deck, links, we got Linkaribo, Pentastag. You know, those cards are always in Dinos. This can help you just end games, especially if you have the Mathmech stuff in going second. Circular has a restriction where you can only attack with one thing. Like you'd see in the pure Mathmech deck, it's an access code that you can attack twice with, but in this deck we have Conductor. So if they have a few monsters, you can book everything and then just pierce them for game. Cyberse, Link 2s, we got the Inverted and the Wicked, combo pieces. We got the G Golems again, these cards are cracked. Playing these helps a lot going second too when you take out the Mathmech stuff, because they can help you, if you need to set up a board, you get to set up a better board if you can't kill them. So those are nice. IP, Unicorn, Appaloosa. These are important for when you get disrupted, or the 1 card circular combo. And then Appaloosa is just the best thing to go off into from IP for the most part. And then we have the access code. We cut Dugares from the budget list for the access code just because with the G Golems, the access code comes up a lot more since these are so good for link climbing. So the fact that you can just link climb into an access code and still have a rank 4 and your UCT is really nice, because before you didn't get to have the rank 4 with it, so you kind of picked between like Dugares, Pentastag, or access code UCT. So with these you kind of get to do both, which is really nice. I think access codes just would come out more than Dugares for the most part. And then another thing this is cool for is if you're facing like a back row deck that the monster negates aren't really good for, you can IP into access code and just start popping their stuff when it gets back to your turn, and this thing's can't be destroyed because of IP, so that could be nice as well. Then for the XCs, we got Lagia, Dolka, Alan and Laplacian. You know, these are cards for the Mathmech combo, the Super Factorial. Dolka's staple. Lagia was like a flex spot, I guess, but I think this format, having Lagia is important, especially in a certain decks where like you're going second, you want to go for game, and like you just want to make this just to be safe. It used to be Dweller last format. Well, not last format, we weren't playing this deck last format, but I think Lagia is a better card than Dweller right now, so I went with that. And then the last card is the Savage, which which is part of your end board, obviously. So that's it for the extra. Now for the side deck, went with mostly a mix of hand traps and board breakers and kind of stuff that is good into various matchups. Since this is a very diverse format, it's really hard to prepare for. So went with the 3 nibs and 3 droll for hand traps. I used a nib main, or a main nib, but it seems a little weird lately because like Kashtira is not going for that big lock or like the 3-zone lock really. Like they go for the full lock if they open a 3-card combo and you don't stop them, which is like kind of unrealistic for the most part. So for the most part, they just go a Rise Hard Pass, which nib is just a blank card in that case. And this deck really struggles with the Rise Hard, obviously. So I think side nib's fine for like rogue. Like you can still bring it in versus Kashtira. Just so, you know, if they do have a hand that can lock you and you only draw 1 card, like that can stop them. And then droll. Droll's like borderline main deckable in certain decks. I wouldn't do it in this deck since it's not enough non-engine space, but I think this card's really underrated right now. It hits a lot of stuff like just decently, and in some cases it can be just like a blowout. Like versus like a Drytron or a Dark World, like this is like the best card you could draw pretty much. Even versus stuff like Kashtira and Branded, like if their first search is like, say like Kashtira starts with like a Terraforming or something like that, like this card can just be crazy as well. So I think it's pretty good right now. Then for board breakers, I got Dark Rulers, Lightning Storm, and Evenly. I think Dark Ruler is like pretty good. I might swap those out for a Duster and 2 Doggerins, but that's just something I kind of need to play around with more. Because I think Kaijus are pretty good this format as well. And the Doggerins technically searchable, even though I personally think that's kind of a meme with this deck, since searching a Doggerin is never going to really be a thing that you can do unless you open like a super heavy engine hand and your OV resolves. So it's kind of like unrealistic, but just if you're going to play Kaijus, you might as well play the one that's technically searchable. And if you start with that and Lost World, it can give your opponent the token so they can't target your normal summon, which is nice. So I think there's a argument to maybe play a couple Doggerins and a Duster if you want an extra back row hit instead of these, but I think Dark Roll is pretty good as well. And then I went with these 6 for the back row hate, even though I think I'd probably play Cosmic over Lightning Storm and like other decks, but I wanted 6 cards that I could always bring in for the Mathmech engine. So like say Droll and Nib weren't good in a matchup, and maybe they weren't like spamming a monster heavy board or something like that. Like between these 9 cards, I feel like I can always bring in 6 of them versus anything if I really need to. So I think that helps with the side pattern a lot, since the 8 in the main are generic enough. So having the board breakers with prosperity is nice. I opted not to play a go first card in the side for this, since I don't think this deck needs it as much, since you're ending on the super factorial. So even if they have a board breaker, you're still gonna have that card plus maybe like Ash, Imper, and Fenrir, like depending on what board breaker they have. So I feel like that just super factorial and just anything else, like even sometimes by itself, it can get you to the next turn. So I feel like the going first card wasn't as necessary. And since you only play a limited number of non-engine in the main, I wanted to have as wide of a variety in the side as possible, just to kind of cheer up any potential matchup you could have. So I felt like this was a good generic lineup to go with to kind of try to prepare for the entire field. So yeah, evenly it's weird in this deck, since obviously it's a deck that struggles with Lancia very badly going second, but the card's really good right now in a lot of matchups, so I feel like you just better have it. Then Storm, same thing. It's like this can hit monsters as well, so it has like the added utility to not just be back row hate, which I like over Cosmic, since Cosmic can be better versus like a Runic or like Floodgates that get flipped, but in certain situations. But like I said about the Lancia thing, like I don't want to play like evenly cosmic when Lancey is a card that's going to come in every time if that's something that your opponent's siding. So yeah, I like this side. Like I said, can maybe squeeze in 2 Doggerin and a Duster for like the Dark Rulers, or maybe one of these. But I think this is nice personally. Yeah, that's it for the deck. Like I said, last video I made a really long combo guide going over all the basic combos in this deck, all the normal like combos through certain hand traps that are likely to come up. So definitely check that video out if you're looking to play this deck. And if you are looking to play dinos in a going first sense, I think you should definitely give this a try for sure. Yeah, let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And have a nice day. Peace.